Found out that my wife cheated on me after she made out with me in her sleep and said, "I love you, Bob." But I am not a Bob. Finding all this out really came as a shock to me. We have been together for 14 years, married for 10, and have 2 children, 6 and 4. The last thing I ever expected was to find out she was having an affair or would cheat on me. Strap in for a long one. It started about a year ago. We became friends with a couple who had similar age children as us, lived close, and we all got along really well. We started hanging out, watching each other's kids, going out as a group quite a bit. Over the coming months, my wife and the husband, as they are the primary caregivers to the children while I and the other wife work more hours, started to become closer. They clearly had similar personalities and could just talk and get along. I didn't see a lot of this since it all happened when I was away, and they were doing mutual kid stuff together. I wasn't too worried about it though. I trusted my wife. I never had any reason to doubt her. She always had guy friends throughout our whole relationship. Through the early spring there were ups and downs for us. She was becoming aware she was somewhat depressed, and started going to counseling. She started working out and eventually losing weight. Shortly after starting counseling, she asked me to go to couples counseling. I thought things were fine and I kind of said, "I think we are okay. Let's see how it goes," and left it at that. She never brought up couples counseling again. And she kept acting like things were good with us. We were still sexually active. Our sex lives throughout our marriage has never been a sore spot, but probably not as active as one would like. We never went more than a month without sex, and rarely more than a week, but I always knew she wanted sex more than me. I had insight into this and found myself asking myself, why don't I have any sex drive? Will this ever get better? In and around this time I found 2 toys she bought without telling me. She was clearly hiding them, but they went off overnight one night. She woke up 2 that night. The next day we talked, and my point was just to say, why didn't you just talk to me about it? Turns out I was probably depressed too with work and stuff. We moved 5 years ago to her hometown where she had some friends, but not close friends anymore, and I had no friends. I have a good job, am a physician, and make good money. But we also spend a lot of money, so I was constantly worried about money too, and that's on me. Throughout her counseling and working out, the 4 of us have started hanging out more. Felt great. Oh, we finally have friends. I was happy about it. We started having sex more often, and everything felt pretty good in June. We went on a family trip in July, and during the trip my wife told me the other wife discovered her and his text thread on his phone, and it greatly upset her. She told me it was a large quantity, but nothing inappropriate. There was one time I said I love you like a joke, but it's all just friendly, I was told. She kind of offered to show me the texts, but in a "you don't want to see the texts, do you?" kind of way. I had no reason not to trust her at this point and was like, "Nah, it's cool, you have guy friends, no big." When we got back, I started getting anxious. I don't know why. I just started to feel insecure. I noticed the sex toy pouch was moving around. The 2 of them were spending more time together. He had a week off work for the holiday, with the kids on summer vacation, and I was working all the time to make up for the trip. As I got more anxious, the texts kept coming up, and it turned into, "You can't look at the texts, that's an invasion of my privacy." She bought him a present a week before my birthday, when she had to put together with iron-on patches, and that arrived when I was home. I could feel it through the package, and she gave him the next day while I was at work, but then I saw it the day after. My point again, why didn't you just tell me about it? I felt like I was going crazy. Why was I so insecure? Why can't I trust her? Why am I constantly checking Find Your Friends and the Nest cams in the house now? I felt like I was being replaced sexually before with the toys, then now I felt I was being replaced as a partner too, and I told her as much. I was a mess. She reassured me they are just friends, nothing is going on, it's just like me and other guy friend. But my PHQ-9 was at the upper limit of moderate. I wasn't sleeping or eating. So I made an appointment with a psychologist and a PCP and got started on meds. I have now been going to the therapist every week since August. Before my next guy trip in July, I talked to the wife, who I work with but she's not a doctor, about the texts. I started to learn more of the details. There was not just one I love you, but many. Good night, good morning almost every day. Pet names, etc. I was pretty crushed. A week earlier my wife made out with me in her sleep and said I love you pet name, and then fell back asleep. I was confused, I asked her, and she said I was pet name, but after I learned the truth I clearly wasn't. I talked to my wife about these details the next day. She said she was so depressed, so sad, and so upset with how I had been treating her the last few years she almost left me, and he talked her out of it. I talked to him for a while too. I told them I'm okay with them communicating, but the I love yous and pet names need to stop. They agreed, apologized, and he said he was going to back off too. A few weeks go by. We are all hanging out and I arrive first and she doesn't really give me a hug or anything, then they arrive, and I just know she is going to hug him ASAP. And she does. And I lose my mind. Bad on me. I overreacted for sure. I knew I was doing it and just tried to separate myself to cool off, but she comes and is like WTF is wrong, and we have a fight about it. I knew I was in the wrong, but she still came to get it out of me. The next day, the other couple decide amongst themselves the best thing for their family is to set a boundary that the male and female from our two families no longer communicate privately. I didn't love this because I was starting to be good friends with the female, but I agree, and my wife said it's BS, but she will respect their wishes. Couple more weeks and we are on a family trip, just us. I oversee that she has been texting him privately. And texting a million other people the whole trip. It's really every time she goes to the bathroom or I go she's on her phone. Eventually, I call her out and I was really furious. So much for boundaries, I say. Was not a good day to have this fight, but it happened and I meant what I said. I was assured they were no longer communicating privately. 3 weeks later, I get a call. She needs to tell me something. The other wife looked at the phone logs and the two of them, no longer texting, have now been talking for hours a day. 40 minutes at 4 a.m. on his way to work, 1.5 hours at night, 20 to 40 minutes during lunch. Every day. Always when I'm at work. I leave for overnight at 9. 1.5 hour call. If I'm home at night, no call, but call at 4 is. Literally every day. I was crushed. Betrayed. She lied. Like directly lied. We started going to couples therapy finally. She assured me and the therapist they had no more communication. It was over and she was working to rebuild trust, so we as families could be friends again and the kids could have their friends back. Well, a month goes by and one morning on the Nest Cam I saw my wife taking a workout selfie, but with a sexual kind of pose. Later that night I am able to get on her computer and find her photo stream and find they have been nearly sexting. No true nudity but sensual pictures, sexy poses, underwear pics, sensual smiles I have never seen before, going back until August. Also there are a ton of inspirational quotes about finding your second love, not being able to be with the one you love due to outside circumstances, being with someone who loves you for who you are and not what they want you to be. This is crushing to me. I am devastated. I am so betrayed. She told the counselor they weren't talking. I told the other wife. Me and my wife talked. They were using a secret messaging app since before our trip with the big fight. But there was nothing physical, I was assured. How will this time be different, I ask over the next few days. I can't hurt you again, I can't keep lying to you. I find out that she had told him she wanted to run away with him, in 5 years when kids are older or 20 years if she has to. I'm told it was just an escape, a fantasy. But nothing physical. 2 days later he spills the beans to his wife. They have been kissing since August, since before my hug overreaction. They had sex numerous times, at least 2 to 3. It all made sense now. She would go run errands during nights she knew the wife would be at work and either I would be home, or she would hire a sitter, and she would go over there. The first night she went over, I had a bad feeling BC she turned find your friends off and hired a sitter before I got home from work. I asked her the next day and she said no, I went to my friend's house, see here's this picture I took with her. But this was definitely the first night she went to his house to sleep with him. She made sure to take a picture as an alibi. My wife still didn't tell me about this. We went to couples therapy, she explained the pictures, and made a point that nothing physical happened. And then I came out with what I knew. I couldn't hold it anymore. We cried, I was devastated, she was ashamed. However, the next day she went to his work to try and talk to him to get closure and tell him sorry. He sped away and she followed for a bit, then turned around and called me. But how can I be sure that's what she wanted? How do I know she didn't go to see if there was something left with him, and he wasn't just ignoring her because of what his wife made him do? Now she says she's sorry. She's crushed by what she did too and can't think of anything else. In the meantime, we had another therapy appointment and we go back tomorrow. We had a long talk about what this means and I think we both know this is heading for divorce. I'm not ever going to get past this, I don't think. I won't be able to trust her again. I can't. Everything I found out because someone else, or I, discovered it. She told me nothing that someone else didn't already discover through this whole process. I guess I'm looking for some insight into what she might be going through. There's still no transparency. She has changed all her computer and phone/iPad passwords. The therapist asked if she would share her passwords and she was like, no, it's my privacy, and the therapist was like, you kidding me? If you want any chance for this to work, you need to be 100% transparent. But she still isn't. I don't want to have to ask for everything. At this point though, I don't even want to know. And I'm asking how to proceed tomorrow and the future. The legal stuff I can work out, I've talked to a lawyer, but timing is tough. Do I tell her tomorrow I want to start the process of in-home separation, we have a guest bedroom? Do I separate our accounts? Everything is joint right now, but I make the majority of the money and everything is going to be split 50/50 in the end, so would this just make things acrimonious? Do I continue to just hold until our next couples session in January, after the holidays? Update. Why does it hurt so much tonight? I mean, I know why. But why? In the interim, she let it known she had saved some screenshots of their secret messaging app. She was going to let me see them, and I saw a few, and they were taken a week after she said she deleted it. So the app still isn't deleted. I checked her computer and found the screenshots. The one that hurt most was her saying I'm not in love with him, I'm not sure I ever was. And the AP affirming I don't think I ever was either. I know this is her justifying her actions. But it hurts. I was trying to hold off on mentioning it. But stuff happened tonight where yesterday I made plans for the weekend and she had previously made plans and it came up on Christmas Eve, and I was like, oh, who's watching the kids? I made plans and was kind of a jerk about it. For whatever reason, when I got home I couldn't help myself but be mad. I watched the kids for months while you screwed another man, etc., and then I let it be known I knew the app was still on her phone and asked her about that message in particular. I mentioned the app still existing and her still not sharing it is part of the whole lack of remorse thing. She asked why I was still going through her stuff. Because I can't trust you. So after we put the kids to bed I went to try and get one more pic update before she inevitably changes her password. Found new SS she took yesterday. SS of their Zex/dirty talk that was in and around the same pics I had already seen that was just lovey-dovey BS I didn't care about anymore. But these hurt more. I didn't bring those up yet. So we wrapped presents. Talked. She said she's afraid I'm going to take all the money and divert it and control it. And I might. I told her she has no reason not to trust me, and I'm going to be fair. But I need to protect myself. And she said she needs to protect herself. But there are things I don't want to lose. I want 50/50 visitation rights. I think. I work 15 to 17 days a month shift work. So it would be tough. But in the case I need someone to watch the kids for a night, she said she wants to be the first one I call. I don't want that to change if this becomes not amicable. I want us to be able to coexist around the kids even if it's not that often. She wants to keep this from a court battle. Mediation with our lawyers would be ideal. But what I want to control my paycheck. I want her out of the house ASAP. I want to file ASAP. I'm fearful that me pursuing the above will lead to losing the above, and I'm not sure which way to go. I know what it is I should do: change my paycheck to my account, give her X dollars a month, and file when my lawyer gets back into town the day of. But that feels wrong. It feels nefarious, and I don't like feeling that way. She hasn't shown any signs of excessive spending or money diversion as of yet. We can talk about splitting assets without it getting ugly. We actually agree on most of that. She wants us and the two lawyers to meet and mediate versus going to court. And she asked me if we could wait until February to file. The waiting until February is the only part that bothers me? The obvious question is why? Why a month? Logically, she doesn't have a lawyer yet. She doesn't have a house yet or anywhere to move. She doesn't have a job. So what do I do with that information? And why does it hurt so much tonight? Did I screw the pooch letting her know this information? Update. Well, we made it through the holidays. We moved bedrooms, agreed to separate officially, and be okay seeing other people if we wanted. Christmas came and went with just a little fight, and overall was cordial. The more time we spent together, the more I know this is the right decision. Eventually I can heal, but I can't trust and get annoyed by all the little things. I listened to Leave a Cheater, Gain a Life audiobook, and it was extremely helpful. Anyone who finds out they were cheated on should listen or read it. New Year's was especially tough, as it was basically the 14-year anniversary for our relationship, and although I was with my best friends ever, it was me and 14 other people, all couples. I should have stayed in town and spent the day with my single friends, maybe? But I needed to see my old best friends who all knew my wife as long as I have. We had one last family vacation last weekend. A museum trip we had promised our son for his birthday but never got around to doing. It was good for the kids. It was tolerable most of the time, but the more time I spent with her the more annoyed I got. Little things. And also being on her phone a lot towards the end of the days. But I held it together. I know I had every justification to file and spring things on her and separate the finances, but I didn't. I talked to my lawyer a lot, kept most of the finances joint, and she hasn't moved money or anything. I let her see a lawyer, and after seeing him she told me either she can file or I can, and I told her I would like to and was going to file ASAP, and she said she's ready. So I filed yesterday, which felt great. Now she almost has a job. She has found a house, and as soon as it's closed she will start moving out. We can still coexist in the house. I think things will go smoothly, which we both want. We have agreed on custody arrangements, and due to my schedule I can have them for a lot more time during school days than most people. I get days off during the week and on weekends, so I can pick them up at 2 on school days and have them all day, versus just picking them up at 5:30 if I had a 9-to-5 job, for example. We agreed on holidays, etc. Just have to get the details hammered out in writing. I know it's unusual and maybe was a little risky, but it was worth it to keep things amicable. I'm going to have to interact with her no matter what. I don't know if we will ever be great friends or not, but we still need to be able to coexist in the same room and be able to smile. A couple other things. After separating and agreeing we could see other people, I did get involved with someone. It gave me some insight into what it's like to be desired and wanted, and into what she and I were both missing from our marriage. That was good and things were fun, and that's all I signed up for from the beginning, and she knew that. But then I could tell she was getting the feels and was trying to let her down, and she told me she loved me after 12 days. Eek. I know I'm not ready for all that. So, well, that's complicated. I suspect my STBXW is getting involved with another man. Which, I mean, whatever, now that she stopped dragging her feet I didn't care, but he's married too. She knows him through a volunteer thing, she's on the board and is doing a lot of the little work, and he's the new president. But they are exchanging 500 to 600 texts per day since a day or two after Christmas that I can see since they are SMS. I can't see the content, just quantity. For example, while we were on our family trip, she sent and received 270 messages from 6 to 8:30 p.m. while we were at dinner and doing bedtime. Which seems excessive. She went over to do some work with him last night and was there from like 8 to 11, which isn't too long. I also have some suspicions based on text timing and frequency. She has been going to his house other times. Also, there are a fair number of late night, 11 to 1130 texts, as well as texts on NYE right at midnight and later at 1 a. I know I need to stop digging for pain, but I can't help but feel, can we just stop at blowing up two families? Should I bring this up? We have couples counseling today, mainly to talk about how we are going to proceed with the kids. It will probably be my last session. But I DK if I should bring this up or just let it go and or bring it up after the divorce is finalized. I also have some suspicion she knows about my girl, at which point I should probably just let things be. She isn't saying anything. My lawyer knows all about both points above and didn't really say anything one way or the other. I also think she could be back in contact with her AP, but I'm not sure. There was a screenshot of her secret messaging app taken on January 1st. It was scrolled up and I don't know when the messages were sent that the SS showed, but it was a new picture of him I hadn't seen before with a longer beard than this fall, and his name in the message was default, whereas it was name in previous screenshots. I haven't seen any other evidence and I'm going to let this be for now, but it wouldn't surprise me. Thanks for all the support, everyone, it has helped a lot. Final update. Well, it's done. She moved out. Tonight is the first night she's not sleeping at the same house as I. She has the kids too. It's okay. I feel well. I found some good friends to hang out with tonight. And I have friends coming over tomorrow and the next night. It's still sad. I miss the good times. I miss what we had. I look at our wedding photo and see how happy she was and wonder what changed, what went wrong. I'm not sure I'll ever know. I'm going to be okay. The kids will be cared for by both of us. I still love her, but realize she had changed and doesn't love me like she used to. My Baba. I will miss her. I'll never forget her. I'm so sad right now. I was okay. But I'm not now.